and the extra blanket folded neatly at the foot of the rack. It was a simple task, mundane at best, but every morning we were required to make our bed to perfection. It seemed a little ridiculous at the time, particularly in light of the fact that we were aspiring to be real warriors, tough, battle-hardened SEALs. But the wisdom of this simple act has been proven to me many times over. If you make your bed every morning, you will have accomplished the first task of the day. It will give you a small sense of pride, and it will encourage you to do another task, and another, and another. And by the end of the day, that one task completed will have turned into many tasks completed. Making your bed will also reinforce the fact that the little things in life matter. If you can't do the little things right, you'll never be able to do the big things right. And if by chance you have a miserable day, you will come home to a bed that is made, that you made. And a made bed gives you encouragement that tomorrow will be better. So if you want to change the world, start off by making your bed. During SEAL training, the students are all broken down into boat crews. Each crew is 7 students, 3 on each side of a small rubber boat, and 1 coxswain to help guide the dinghy. Every day, your boat crew forms up on the beach and is instructed to get through the surf zone and paddle several miles down the coast. In the winter, the surf off San Diego can get to be 8 to 10 feet high, and it is exceedingly difficult to paddle through the plunging surf unless everyone digs in. Every paddle must be synchronized to the stroke count of the coxswain. Everyone must exert equal effort, or the boat will turn against the wave and be unceremoniously dumped back on the beach. For the boat to make it to its destination, everyone must paddle. You can't change the world alone. You will need some help. And to truly get from your starting point to your destination takes friends, colleagues, the goodwill of strangers, and a strong coxswain to guide you. If you want to change the world, find someone to help you paddle. Over a few weeks of difficult training, my SEAL class, which started with 150 men, was down to just 42. There were now 6 boat crews of 7 men each. I was in the boat with the tall guys, but the best boat crew we had was made up of the little guys, the Munchkin crew, we called them. No one was over 5'5". The Munchkin boat crew had 1 American Indian, 1 African American, 1 Polish American, 1 Greek American, 1 Italian American, and 2 tough kids from the Midwest. They out-paddled, outran, and outswam all the other boat crews. The big men in the other boat crews would always make good-natured fun of the tiny little flippers the Munchkins put on their tiny little feet prior to every swim. But somehow these little guys from every corner of the nation and the world always had the last laugh, swimming faster than everyone and reaching the shore long before the rest of us. SEAL training was a great equalizer. Nothing mattered but your will to succeed, not your color, not your ethnic background, not your education, not your social status. If you want to change the world, measure a person by the size of their heart, not by the size of their flippers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CARES Project podcast. We are at episode 152 of The Matrix Reloaded, The Eye of the Serpent, Part 3. This is a very lengthy third.
Part 3?
Yes, this is the segment. We were doing 5 segments in this section, and this one has actually covered 7 parts. This is like 7 parts, and so forth. So it's very in depth, and we've been going in and talking a lot about feminism and what has been going on, and we've been covering a various amount of topics, but we've been looking at the fall of the goddess monotheism and that sort of thing here. So we need to go back and start continuing kind of where we picked up, where we left off. Kaysha, anything you want to say before we get into this?
I share the stream.
Yes, this is an important topic because somebody actually challenged me to go in and start looking at first wave feminism and so forth, because they were like, well, it's not as bad as you think it is, and so forth. I said, all right, let me go take a look. And when I go in and look at something, I do my homework. I went in and I amassed, I don't know, there's probably about 50 or so books relating to feminism, if not actually probably more than that, probably somewhere between 70 and 100 books relating to feminism that are that I have, that I've been going through and sourcing and referencing, so that I come with what is being spoken of by them. I'm not using other people's conjecture, and then I place it on what the Bible said, and then I also placed it, like, I looked at some of what Ellen White had to say, because she was a woman that was around at first wave feminism. She knew, um, um, her and Helen Blavatsky knew each other, and Helen Blavatsky was the co-founder of Theosophy, and we know that Elizabeth Cady Stanton was a Theosophist, and so was Annie Besant, and it was very much interwoven into the feminism that we see. And here in Canada, on the eastern side of Canada, they got the theosophical variation of feminism that went that route and had the spiritual eugenics program. And then here in Western Canada, they used the racial eugenics. But they both had a common ground on using the medical system for the eugenics program, regardless of what side they wanted.
That's not on the screen.
I know, I haven't put it up there yet.
Oh, okay. I was
I'm
like,
just talking. And so we're going to go back in and we're going to pick up where we left off with some of the Bible scriptures about what's going on. All right, so it says, this is a portion here. It says, but if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, and he lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die. But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is nothing in the damsel in there is in the damsel no sin worthy of death. For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, so is this matter. This is talking about rape.
Yeah.
When there's a rape, the death penalty. But the most important thing that they said here is that when a man rises up and slays his neighbor and commits murder, even so is this matter. So now that you know that rape is equivalent to murder, so when they're talking about destroying children,
that was one time, by the way.
yes,
that's one time.
If you rape the child and murder the child, the effect is the same.
Yeah.
Right? So pedophilia and child sacrifice are identical in the eyes of God, because right there it tells you rape is like rising up and slaying your neighbor.
Well, that's
how
for
much
adults
more
or
worse
children.
is it when it's a child?
Yeah, it's adult.
So, and by the way, I agree with the Bible on that penalty. 100%. Oh wow, this is gonna be tough. I don't know how this went blue. Again, thou shalt say to the children of Israel, whosoever he be of the children of Israel, of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Moloch, he shall surely be put to death. The people of the land shall stone him with stones, and I will set my face against that man, and will put him off from among the people, because he hath given over his seed unto Moloch to defile my sanctuary and to profane my holy name. And if the people of the land do anyways hide their eyes from the man when he giveth his seed unto Moloch, and kill him not, then I will set my face against that man, and against his family, and I will cut him off, and all that go a whoring after him to commit whoredom with Moloch from among the people. Yes. So if you go ahead and you see somebody involved in that Moloch worship and doing filth to children, and you do nothing, God's going to give you the same penalty as the man who did it,
Yeah.
because that is such of a filthy, vile, and nasty character that God wants to have nothing to do with it whatsoever. Nobody connected him deals with that kind of filth,
Yeah.
right? And this is really it. And this is what people need to really understand, that God has zero tolerance. Wow. Look, when they had,
Wow. It's not blue there.
yes, I have no idea how that turned that way, so I'll have to use these ones. So we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. It says, Thou shalt not do so unto the Lord thy God, for every abomination to the Lord which he hateth have they done unto their gods, for even their sons and their daughters they have burnt in the fire to their gods, and they killed them. And in other sections, it uses the word destroy. So it doesn't matter whether they're doing filth to the child, whether they're sacrificing it. God calls it an abomination which he hateth. And this is tied to Ashtaroth, the worship of Baal and Ashtaroth. Jezebel was a high priestess of Ashtaroth, right? That's the female version of Baal. Even Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, agrees. They keep talking about this, that this is Venus, this is the fertility goddess, Isis, Ishtar, the same people. This is the same that's synonymous with Satan. This is the same liberator that Elizabeth Cady Stanton, one of the co-founders of the women's suffrage movement, which was the first wave of feminism, said that if we, with through Darwinian evolution, we can exonerate the snake and liberate the woman. And the snake has been tied to the liberator of the woman, that is Satan. And they say that the goddess worship was banished at creation, and that is the liberation that was taken from the woman, and that sexual liberation to do all of the practices tied with it is what is the objective. And Gerda Lerner talks about this in The Creation of the Patriarchy, about the casting down of the goddess, the fertility goddess. He talks about this straight out. So when you're looking at the patriarchy, it is people that are against these types of practices. And what we're seeing here, and I'm not saying that every person is aware of this, because most people are not.
Yeah.
Because most people, if they understood that the fertility goddess stood for murdering and raping children and all the worst abominable practices,
Yep.
they wouldn't want to have no part of it.
Yep.
How many people are going to sit down and say, yes, we want to abolish everything so they can start raping children and killing them? No sane person wants to do this. But that is what it represents. People are being lied to, and lied to a lot. Go to the next slide. Get this up. Well, it says, When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. This is the prohibition, not race, This worship is why God said that he will not mix with the other nations, because of this is what they were doing, raping and killing children. It says, "Thou shalt not learn to do after the abomination of those nations. There shall not be found among you one that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire," that's the Moloch worship, "or that uses divination, or an observer of times," which is looking at the stars, this is astrology, "or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord." Because all of these things that he listed out, they're all tied to destroying, raping, and killing your children. All of them. Every single one of them. Because all the people that practice the raping and killing the children, they do all of those things. Not every person that practices all of those things, rape and kill children, the ones who rape and kill children, they do all of those things.
Yeah.
Right? The Baal and Moloch worships, they do all of those things.
Yeah.
Not everybody who does that participates in the Moloch worship, but every Moloch worshiper participates in all of these things.
Yeah.
Some, most, if not all of them. And this is why God says, absolutely not. He wants a complete distinction between those who do that kind of abominable filth. Yeah. This is why he said not to do it.
Yep.
A lot of people don't realize this, but this is what it's about. All right, let's get to the next slide, because apparently something went wrong. "And Israel abode in Shittim, and people began to commit whoredom with the daughters of Moab. And they called the people unto the sacrifices of their gods, and the people did eat, bow down to their gods, and Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel." This type of worship is where they started to engage in. They sent in the Moabite women in there naked, and the men started to do the filthy practices and commit idolatry. And this is where Phineas grabbed the javelin and he thrust the woman and the man through, one of the leaders that was leading the people into sin, and he slew him because God was going to wipe a whole lot of them out. And he was like, "Not today, Satan. You're going to die for your sin, and not the rest of these people." And still, a lot of people died, but it would have been way worse, because they had God leading them in the camp, and they wanted to go and do this filth in the presence of God. This is how brazen these people are. They sent the women into the camp. Men couldn't come into that camp and do that nonsense. They would be dead. You think the men could have come in and just started raping their women? No, they couldn't. They could not do that. So they sent the women in to cause rebellion, to turn them away from God, because they knew that if Israel was invincible while they served God, they knew it. There was nothing that they could do to stop Israel. So what did they do? They sent the women in there to go in and pervert the men, because they couldn't beat them in battle. So what did they do? They sent the women to ensnare them with their senses. They were naked and they got enthralled, because men are visual. That's why they did that. And I'm sure they sent the best looking of their women to go there as well.
That's so funny. Like the other day when someone made the post and they said it was like a girl being thirst trapping, and they were like, the CIA is not sending their best.
Oh, that's just a diss.
Yeah, same kind of thing. That's what it was.
But that's
tactics never change.
This is really what it is. they're using this, and then the women is acting like, oh, why does this happen to the men? Well, they're visual, like how you don't like men smooth talking you and breaking you over the coals. This is the same thing, just different weaknesses.
Pretty much.
And so now it says, because they have forsaken me and have estranged this place and have burned incense in it unto other gods, they have built also the high places of Baal, burn their sons with fire for burnt offerings unto Baal, which I commanded not, nor spake it, neither came it into my mind. So these people are murdering and they're destroying children. They're doing all manner of evil. And Baal is the male version of Ashtaroth. Ashtaroth and Baal, same thing. Same thing, same practices. And the women are the ones who were leading out in the filthy practices when it came to the sexual depravity. That they were leading the men into that. They came in, they had the temple prostitutes, the high priestess of priests, the priestesses were prostitutes. And they came in and they did all manner of evil, and a lot of people sat there and watched it, participated, did all kinds of living to the excess. Lasciviousness, yes. Just like Anton LaVey said. Yes. And against what God says. Because God says self control, temperance.
Yeah.
And they say live to excess. That's not what God says. It says now, and change the glory of the uncorruptible God into an image made like to corruptible man, and to birds, and to four-footed beasts, and creeping things. Wherefore God also gave them up to the uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. And when you're engaging in some of these things, and like, I mean, they do some base practices, like, I mean, nothing was off limits, like Aleister Crowley, who was abusing animals sexually for his gratification.
That's so crazy.
Yes.
Like, honest to God, like, that's insane.
These are the types of, like, I mean, disgusting things that people were doing.
They're doing them now.
Yes, they are. And it says, who changed the truth of God into a lie, and worship and serve the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause, God gave them up to vile affections, even did their women change the natural use into that which is against nature. This ain't just homosexuality. You have to understand that he's also talking about these types of practices, because a lot of, for example, in a lot of those heathen cultures, they were practicing this. And some of those women, like even when he was talking to the women in Corinth, some of these women came out of these types of places that were priestesses doing these types of filthy practices.
Oh, dang, they was doing that in Corinth.
They, before they became Christians, this
Corinthians.
some of these women came from there, and they were sliding back.
That's crazy.
Into that thing. This is why Paul came in
And talked
and
to the
he
people of Corinth.
slammed them down and said, "No."
Yeah. That's
right?
crazy.
Yes.
What? That brings different context to the advice he gave them about the sexual relationship between the husband and the wife, and the need for filling the needs of the husband and the wife, so that they don't go out and do filth.
Because then they would be tempted to go back into these idolatrous practices to get sex. And then what?
That's so funny.
That's
it's
exactly
funny, but
it.
It's not withholding sex is truly an act of hostility and violence. It sets up your partner to do some filth because you are depriving them in a very abusive, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physical, sexual way. It's an abuse. It warps your brain because now you are deprived of something and you're gonna focus on filling that need, and you're probably gonna do some debased, botched up things to fill your needs. That that's the truth. Psychology talks about that too. That's how bad it is.
Yes.
They can't even skirt around that one. That's how bad it is.
Yes. And when we get to part 4 of the series, because this is the ending of part 3, we're going to bring in a lot of the Bible verses that I had to cut out. There were so many Bible verses alone because, like I sit down and say, the Bible is the final authority. Everything else here we're looking at comparatively, but the Bible is where we get our authority as a Christian. And when I sit down and you're going to see more and more prohibitions like this all over the Bible. And I'm going to even show you in some of the later ones where Stephen accused the Sanhedrin of doing the same thing.
Yeah. As your forefather.
Oh, yes.
So do.
And we're going to sit down and see that even Jesus in his day knew that they were doing this filth, this nasty filth. And this is why he talked to these people the way that he did.
Yeah.
Because that is such of a vile satanic nature. Okay, it says, being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, hater of God, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who, knowing the judgment of God, they which commit such things are worthy of death. Not only do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. So if you don't do it, but you accept it and condone it, you are worthy of death.
Yeah.
You look at that list of think how many people you're sitting down and seeing doing these things openly that say that they're Christians.
Yeah.
Yes. Because all of this maliciousness, you think the people that are talking about the way that they're racist, whether you're black, white, whatever color you are, that you're racist against people, that you're all people doing it, you are malicious. You have murder and anger in your heart because your Bible says that if you are angry at your brother without a cause and you're going to sit down and say per capita for anger to justify hate someone, you are a murderer and deserving of death. Yeah. That is what the Bible says. Anybody want to come in my face and sit down and say they have a justification for being racist? I'm going to show them the Bible. Prepare your seat for hell because you're not going to heaven.
Yeah.
Because I don't care how angry you are to hate the sin and love the sinner. You cannot throw the baby out with the bathwater because every single human being Jesus died for to give them an opportunity to be saved. Yeah. And you have no idea where they're going. And yes, you don't have to like their sin. In fact, you should hate their sin because nobody should love sin. Yeah. Everybody should have a disdain for it. Yeah. But you shouldn't punish people and block them from the kingdom of God because you are doing the devil's work. You are doing more. I'll say this right now. The Christians inside of the church that are malicious, you people that are running down these women that are in porn and stuff like that, you're doing 10 times worse than any of those women. Because the people that are coming to go get help, you're turning them out to the devil and pushing them into the arms of sin. Yeah. And God is going to hold you all more responsible because you know Jesus. These people do not.
Yeah. And, when God gave the 4 sorrows of women to Eve as a punishment for her the sin in the Garden of Eden with Adam. Ultimately, the Bible says she was deceived and Adam was chosen. Sin entered the world through Adam. But still, God said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow. And the four sorrows God gave Eve and women by extension in Genesis 3:16 was sorrow in conception, sorrow in giving birth, sorrow in her desire for her husband, and sorrow in him ruling over her. And when you turn a woman away from coming to God and trying to get a better life and doing what God has admonished her to do and commanded her to do through punishment and consequence, just like a man has to till the land and work hard, and by the sweat of the brow they eat bread and all this, like a man has to go through certain hardships in life for him to be a man and not to go out and destroy society and do evil things. When men turn women away in the church from going and doing what God has said that they have to do to be proper women, they are actually creating the circumstances for those women to continue to go out and be literal predators, tyrants, the most debased, evil people that walk society. Like whatever you consider to be the weakest man, emotional or whatever that's dangerous, women are equally that when they don't do what God told them to do.
All right, I'm gonna go and I forgot to do this slide. I'm gonna go and do this slide here, and then we'll take a short break, and we'll be right back. And it says, and likewise also the men, leaving their natural use of the woman, burned in their lust toward another, men working with men that which is unseemly, and in receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was weak. And even as they did not like to retain God in their knowledge, God gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. So when God didn't people want to listen to God and they wanted to be rebellious, God gave them over to a reprobate mind. They became even more wicked because they threw off the restraint of God. Because God is going to respect their free will choice. If they want to go into rebellion, He's going to let them go. And then what's going to happen? The cup of iniquity is going to get full. And then judgment comes. But where does it begin? It begins in the house of God. Anyway, let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Hello friends, my name is Kaysha and I'm a proud member of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan. And I'm also a survivor of human trafficking. My trafficking began in Saskatchewan, moved into Alberta, and even crossed into the United States. I was stalked, hunted, and ignored by the very systems over the last 5 years that were meant to protect me. This is why, with my father Dale Richardson, we started the Karis Project. This is an Indigenous, survivor-led movement for humanity dedicated to exposing trafficking, government corruption, and holding institutions accountable. One of the most powerful tools that we are using is the petitions for redress of grievances. These are lawful constitutional actions rooted in Canadian and US law, and in treaties that tie us together across provinces, across states, and even across borders. These petitions are precedent-setting. They create a binding record. They demand accountability while representing reconciliation in action. Indigenous and non-Indigenous people working side by side to preserve liberty for all. But we cannot do this alone. We need your help to keep this movement alive, to raise awareness and to build a legacy of justice for Indigenous women, for trafficking survivors, and for families everywhere. Thank you. Please stand with us. Your support makes this work possible. Together we can restore justice, heal families, and defend freedom. And I will close with my favorite quote. The greatest want of the world is the want of men. Men who cannot be bought or sold. Men who in their inmost souls are true and honest. Men who do not fear to call sin by its right name. Men whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle to the pole. And men who will stand for the right, though the heavens may fall. Thank you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I think we're going to cut into some clips here. I'm going to get some clips up. We'll finish off the Bible Bible scriptures, and when we do the podcast, I think it will be more fitting that way to have that done. Then, I mean, if you guys want to support, you saw the QR codes. Feel free to, if you feel so inclined to donate, that there's a Give, Send, Go or a donor box. We also have here links for mypillow.com/cares. Call 800-845-2942. Use a promo code CARES. We've got merchandise. You can see them in the links on the description if you're watching on Rumble or Facebook or Vocal. And if you're watching on Vocal, there's a link that you can sponsor the CARES project. We would appreciate all support, or, whatever way you can, share, click, and so forth. Or you can see also the links in the description, the donor box, and the Give, Send, Go. Please support a good cause, because we do everything on our own dime. And we have been dealing with this fight against human trafficking and a lot of other evils as well. So let me pull up the video here. Which one do I want to do first? Oh yes, we'll just listen to this one. Was grimy. Regardless of whether or not this was an actual real thing or not, it doesn't matter. The whole point,
the premise stands bad. Yeah.
So let's get to it.
Didn't cheat on you.
I know that you did.
How do you know this?
Because the girl you cheated with, I paid her $50 to hit on you.
Why would you pay a girl to talk to me?
Were there liking all these girls' Instagram pictures, your workout buddies with all these different girls at your gym?
I'm a trainer. I have a fitness Instagram.
You went on a date with this girl.
It wasn't a date. But I'm telling you.
She told me you guys had sex.
I'm telling you we didn't.
So are you saying she's lying?
I'm saying she's lying.
Let's find out from her.
Okay.
All right.
Oh my God.
Paula, can you tell him what you told me?
So I pretty much told her that you took me to this really fancy restaurant, and afterwards we went back to my place and hooked up.
And that he came on to you in the car and you guys are kissing?
Yes.
Yeah, see?
Why would you sit here and lie?
I lied because...
So you weren't telling the truth?
I didn't think that she deserved you, so I lied.
Oh my God.
Clearly, she doesn't value the faithful, amazing man that you are. I thought, maybe I have a chance because...
So you thought you had a chance with him, so you're trying to home wreck us so that you can be with him?
She kind of paid someone to do it. Like, she home wrecked herself.
Even if that's a fake video, women do that all the time.
Yes, they do.
All the time. And that's really diabolical.
That's the whole point. That's the point, is that people are going out and doing this filthy type of thing to try to destroy other people, just to satisfy their curiosity, or they believe something that's going on, or they feel something. So they do everything to create the circumstance for their feelings to happen.
To be real.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you see? Oh, so you went and you trapped the man, and then that person came up and lied. And when because
some women will see it and be like, oh, true? Okay, you wasting the man. I'll take him. You don't want that man.
That's treachery. That's just treachery.
Yeah. That's why you can't be playing games on your man like that. Like, that's crazy. If you don't trust your man, just leave him. Just leave him and never speak to him ever again. Just be like, look, I can't do this. I can't trust you. Like, I have to go. I just can't do it. And then leave. Like, don't go and do all this, because you're going to cause problems for yourself and him.
Yes.
And a woman like that, any man will come in and do something to use her against the man because they see she's treacherous. Yes. Even other women will do it. Like, the girl played her.
Yes, she did. This is the kind of stuff that goes on. And then this next woman, she talks about her experience because she's highly educated. Let's listen to what she has to say.
I'm an adult content creator despite having a master's degree and a PhD. I'm also disabled, so I just find it funny that all this education, I'm literally a doctor, And it still doesn't necessarily make you employable.
Right?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's funny. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry. It's funny. It's like women need to realize that your career, like your credentials, does not make you employable to men. I was talking about this on my stream, man. Like, women cannot convince men that what value they need, because the men in workplace of men, no matter what the job or career is, they know what they need. And if they don't need you and you don't have what they need, you can't sell them that they need you, because a piece of paper doesn't strong arm them and force them into believing that they need you. This is why women are delusional, because they think that a piece of paper is going to force a man into capitulation. It doesn't. You need to be valuable as a woman and do the hard thing of being valuable as a woman so a man will choose you to be a part of his life and be valuable to him as a woman. Because women are, things are going to go back to factory settings real quick. And women, and when that happens, they will not be able to force a man to believe that they need their value in the workplace, especially when they're a woman and especially when they're disabled. You can't, I'm sorry, like you're already a woman, which is, you know, you're not going to produce the same work as a man. That's just straight up and down. I'm sorry. On top of being disabled, saying, "Oh, I'm a doctor." I'm sorry, but this is not that world. That's not how things work. And women really need to come to the realization of what it is and what it will be, or they're going to be in a position that they're not really going to like. And the women who just refuse to just switch back to factory settings, they're just going to find out. They're going to be wrong and strong, and those who don't listen will feel too, and that's just going to be what it's going to be.
It's just life.
Yeah, that's life.
Yeah, we're going to listen to this next clip of these two girls talking here. I mean, it's pretty much going to speak for itself.
What were some of the things you were told about men while growing up?
Don't trust them. Yeah, I agree with that one.
What is the most surprising thing you've learned about men from your experiences?
You can't trust them. Facts.
Do you prefer a man who is a gentleman or a bad boy?
Bad boy. Bad boy.
Is it fair to say women lust after bad boys that want to settle down with nice guys?
Yeah.
If you happen to be looking for a quality man, where would you expect to find one?
A quality man? Church. Yes, that's easy.
When was the last time you went to church?
Fatherless behavior, man.
Yes.
Fatherless behavior.
Yes, it is. It is completely like, I mean, this whole delusional thing. I mean,
and can't trust them. But the men that you're surrounded around, you can't trust because you have fatherless. Men are not intentional about you because you don't have a man that's vetting these men for you and being like, okay, yeah, he's a decent guy. You can trust this guy. And even some girls, they do have fathers like that, but they're such feminists and they have mothers who are feminists, like that woman is to her daughter, that they put ideas in their head as if it's their own experience, and women make women terrified. The people who make women feel insecure about being with a man and submitting to a man the most is often not men. It's feminist women. Feminist women feel like no matter what you do, you will never be enough. And the only thing that's holding them from happiness is you. And your death is the only thing that will make them happy and be at peace. But even still, then they'll complain because they want to use you like a slave, but then want to treat you less than a dog. And you'll never have enough value for them and you'll never please them because you are nothing to them and everything at the same time. It's very sad. And that's what women who are feminists do to their daughters. And they instill loads of fear and insecurity in those girls to think that a man is just going to abuse them and hate them, and every little mistake they do, they're going to beat the hell out of them or emotionally abuse the hell out of them and not love anything about them and hate their body and hate their mind. And it's just like, that's not true. Men don't even, most of the abuse women think they're experiencing from men is coming from another woman. Like, if you really think about it,
feel that they're how them feeling bad is actually abuse.
Exactly.
Or some crime.
And it's not. A lot of times the women are imposing their own feelings and assumptions about that man onto that man, saying how I feel right now is what this man is doing to me. I feel bad, so he's abusing me. No, he's not. You're putting your insecurities that some feminist made you scared about.
Oh, yes. We're going to listen to a clip here from Tomi Lahren. And listen to what she says about working and being a mother. Let's just get to it.
And unmarried.
Yeah.
I think you can have it all. I'm one of those people that...
Can you have it all?
I do believe that you can.
You can, as you just said, not an executive, not a superstar. Tomi Lahren goes on TV, everyone knows your name. You're a middle manager at the widget factory, and you do spreadsheets and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You make a decent salary, but not a ton. And you have a few kids. And your husband's working too. You gotta, either you're gonna stay home with your kid, or you're gonna put your kid in daycare. Mm-hmm. Plenty of women put their kids in daycare, but you can't totally have it all, can you? You can't be Donna Reed and Margaret Thatcher.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
I guess I do. I'm not saying it's not challenging. I think it can be done. Not everybody wants that life.
There's only so many hours in the day.
Right.
Could you stay up all night with a kid? Let's say you got 3 kids running around. You know, you're waking up constantly. You're cooking the stew on the pot. You got all this stuff, and then you have to be up because Fox and Friends is at 6 a.m. on the East Coast, on the West Coast, and you got to be up. You've had 1 hour sleep. Now, maybe look, you could say, "I wake up, I'm camera ready, I'm good," but it would be
it would be difficult.
It would be very hard.
Yeah, that level would not be sustainable. But if you work to your full potential, you can afford to have help. Now, some people are like, I can't have a nanny. Oh, that's so awful. I disagree with that. I believe that if you attain a certain level of success,
but that's the thing, you have a lot of money to have a nanny.
Right. I grew up going to daycare. Right?
Yeah,
I grew up with both parents working. I'm very middle America, middle class. Yeah. Both my parents worked. I went to daycare. When I was old enough, I stayed home alone. I loved my upbringing. I do not resent my mom for not staying home with me.
But you, I guess the only point I make, because I agree, that was my upbringing too. But I'm just saying, that was one experience. Mm-hmm. And the other experience is, mommy's you come home and she's got brownies and whatever, does that thing. They're just different experiences.
Yeah.
Meaning you can't do them both at the same time. You can't be baking brownies while you're taking the business call to do the merger and acquisition.
Oh, I think you can.
She's selfish and she's a liar. She's like, I don't mind if you have a certain level of success, then you can get a nanny. What are you gonna get a nanny for? You have you have kids that need your attention, and you're saying I'm okay to neglect my children for money so that I can get money and position and status and keep that. What is wrong with you?
This tells you that she does not truly understand
the value
of doing this. And this is what happens when, by example, women show their children that they're not the highest priority.
Yes, and she said, I don't resent my mother
because she doesn't know any better.
No, she doesn't know the value of being a mother because she didn't have one.
She would have been a lot different if her mother stayed home with her.
Yes, she would have.
And was a traditional, because you know what? If women didn't enter the workforce, the job market would have never went the way that it would.
No.
They would have to be dealing with a bunch of men that would say, I have families to support, and too bad, you're going to pay me. Otherwise, we're just going to all get up and go. And guess what's going to happen to your business when you have nobody to come? If all the men walked out because they're not getting enough money to feed their families and they go elsewhere, no other man is going to come there. I said, if a bunch of men got up when job times were good and they left their job because they wouldn't get paid enough to look after their family, no other man is going to go there and work, because if those men can't take care of their families, why would they go there? Men are a very different breed than women. We're different. We have a mouth to feed that ain't ours, and we have a wife and kids at home. You don't want to piss in a man's cornflakes when it comes to looking after his family. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But women they'll give into this stuff a lot easier. But the fact of the matter is the fact that she said that you could do both. First of all, you can pay to have help, but you can't pay anybody to love your child.
No.
You cannot pay anybody to teach your child the most important lessons, and they cannot get from someone else what they can get from you. You are doing them irreparable harm and stunting their development, even though you feel otherwise. That is straight. That she's a feminist. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. She might say she's not, but she is. Her actions are consistent with feminism.
Yeah, even her words are consistent.
That is completely not possible. To have the brownies baked at home and be the mom to do that and still go and do the career mom, you're delusional.
Yeah.
You think you're going to pay somebody to do all the stuff that you should do and have them bonding with that other person instead of you?
Yeah.
You're nuts. I don't even want to say on that. That's just not even reasonable. That's like paying somebody else to sleep with your wife and expecting you to have a marriage. It is.
Yeah.
So why would you do it to your kids?
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I know a lot of kids that were wealthy and they didn't like their parents because they never saw their parents.
Yeah.
It's somebody else raising them. And they felt like their parents didn't care about them.
In America, a lot of white kids speak Spanish that parents have money because their parents hire Mexicans to raise their kids, and the kids speak Spanish, and they call the nannies mom, and they don't like their parents. It's mad, you know.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to close this with a prayer, and we'll be back on the other side with the second half, and we'll have some video clips, and then we'll have the final scriptures, which is the authority which we use as a Christian as the rule of faith. So there it is. Anyway, I'll close here with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope you've given us this day. Open our hearts and minds to your will, and Father, this day I ask of you in the name of Jesus to help us to rebuild our families, our churches, our community, our nation. And Lord, that the men, we would humble ourselves before God, and that we would repent and turn away from our wickedness, and that we would come to you fully and completely, that we would set the tone for our families and all those around us. And Lord, I ask of you to send your spirit upon your people. And Lord, bring this revival of primitive godliness, that we would have see the works of God being done within us, and that the Gentiles would come to the light of Christ within his people. It's my prayer in Jesus' name.
Amen. Yeah, guys. Stay tuned for part 2 on the other side. We're going to take a little intermission. We will be back on the other side in a few minutes. Ciao.
Several times a week, the instructors would line up the class and do a uniform inspection. It was exceptionally thorough. Your hat had to be perfectly starched, your uniform immaculately pressed, your belt buckle shiny and void of any smudges. But it seemed that no matter how much effort you put into starching your hat or pressing your uniform or polishing your belt buckle, it just wasn't good enough. The instructors would find something wrong. For failing the uniform inspection, the student had to run fully clothed into the surf zone, then wet from head to toe, roll around on the beach until every part of your body was covered with sand. The effect was known as a sugar cookie. You stayed in the uniform the rest of the day, cold, wet, and sandy. There were many a student who just couldn't accept the fact that all their efforts were in vain, that no matter how hard they tried to get the uniform right, it went unappreciated. Those students didn't make it through training. Those students didn't understand the purpose of the drill. You were never going to succeed. You were never going to have a perfect uniform. The instructors weren't going to allow it. Sometimes, no matter how well you prepare or how well you perform, you still end up as a sugar cookie. It's just the way life is sometimes. If you want to change the world, get over being a sugar cookie and keep moving forward. Every day during training, you were challenged with multiple physical events: long runs, long swims, obstacle courses, hours of calisthenics, something designed to test your mettle. Every event had standards, times you had to meet. If you failed to meet those times, those standards, your name was posted on a list, and at the end of the day, those on the list were invited to a circus. A circus was 2 hours of additional calisthenics, designed to wear you down, to break your spirit, to force you to quit. No one wanted a circus. A circus meant that for that day, you didn't measure up. A circus meant more fatigue, and more fatigue meant that the following day would be more difficult, and more circuses were likely. But at some time during SEAL training, everyone made the circus list. But an interesting thing happened to those who were constantly on the list. Over time, those students who did 2 hours of extra calisthenics got stronger and stronger. The pain of the circuses built inner strength and physical resiliency. Life is filled with circuses. You will fail. You will likely fail often. It will be painful. It will be discouraging. At times, it will test you to your very core. But if you want to change the world, don't be afraid of the circuses. At least twice a week, the trainees were required to run the obstacle course. The obstacle course contained 25 obstacles, including a 10-foot wall, a 30-foot cargo net, a barbed wire crawl, to name a few. But the most challenging obstacle was the slide for life. It had a 3-level, 30-foot tower at one end and a 1-level tower at the other. In between was a 200-foot long rope. You had to climb the 3-tiered tower, and once at the top, you grabbed the rope, swung underneath the rope, and pulled yourself hand over hand until you got to the other end. The record for the obstacle course had stood for years when my class began in 1977. The record seemed unbeatable until one day a student decided to go down the slide for life head first. Instead of swinging his body underneath the rope and inching his way down, he bravely mounted the top of the rope and thrust himself forward. It was a dangerous move, seemingly foolish and fraught with risk. Failure could mean injury and being dropped from the course. Without hesitation, the student slid down the rope perilously fast. Instead of several minutes, it only took him half that time. And by the end of the course, he had broken the record. If you want to change the world, sometimes you have to slide down the obstacles head first. During the land warfare phase of training, the students are flown out to San Clemente Island, which lies off the coast of San Diego. The waters off San Clemente are a breeding ground for the great white sharks. To pass SEAL training, there are a series of long swims that must be completed. One is the night swim. Before the swim, the instructors joyfully brief the students on all the species of sharks that inhabit the waters off San Clemente. They assure you, however, that no student has ever been eaten by a shark, at least not that they can remember. But you are also taught that if a shark begins to circle your position, stand your ground. Do not swim away. Do not act afraid. And if the shark, hungry for a midnight snack, darts towards you, then summons up all your strength and punch him in the snout, and he will turn and swim away. There are a lot of sharks in the world. If you hope to complete the swim, you will have to deal with them. So if you want to change the world, don't back down from the sharks.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the second half of episode 152, The Matrix Reloaded, The Eye of the Serpent. And yeah, this was a very long section, but it was necessary. I needed to go through very thoroughly with a lot of the slides to go over what was being done so that people understood that I wasn't just coming and like trying to blow smoke up people's hind parts. That I went through the writings of these feminists themselves. I didn't make stuff up. I took the verbatim quotes that you could go in and you could look all of this stuff up yourself. Easy to find these things online. Use a Google search, ChatGPT, Grok, whatever. You can go and find the links to these things and research them yourself so that you can see with your own eyes. I wouldn't recommend going and reading through all of these materials. It is disgusting. But I mean, you really want to make sure that you can go and see that I was just doing this. This is why when I go and I research things, I don't sit down and grab a little clip here or there and then try to piece together a narrative. I put together the evidence as it stands and let the evidence speak for itself. And this is how I deal with everything, especially my engineering work. That I have a bunch of women clipping some little things together that know nothing about it, and they're not subject matter experts, that are trying to just come and tear down my work like a bunch of Jezebels because it makes them feel bad. Anyway, let's start getting back into some of these clips here. Anything you want to say while I'm pulling up this first clip here? No? Okay. Yeah, got a second or two. I've got to get pull up the clip here. This is a girl who decided, I mean, this is where women, listen to what she says, and you're going to sit down and understand why there are issues in this situation, because men in a lot of these situations, the rest, they don't do this. But listen to what this woman says.
Oh, this one.
Yes.
If you're an American who is considering leaving the country to move somewhere else, make sure that the location you choose isn't based off of fear and lack mentality. I regret moving to Costa Rica. It's a beautiful country. I love the nature and wildlife, but moving to a third world country where I don't know the language, I don't have any connections, resources, or opportunities, that didn't make my life any easier by any means. I was just so scared of what's going on in America politically that I was in fight or flight. I was like, how am I gonna afford to survive? Like, how am I gonna find a place to live? Like, I was freaking out. And then I came here and made my life so much harder. And now I'm trying to go back, and I just like wish I didn't leave in the first place. And it's so weird to like want to move to America right now with everything that's going on, but I just left so many privileges and resources behind, and I want them back. It sucks. But I kind of grew up in an interesting way. I was like the poorest person in the wealthiest rooms throughout most of my childhood. I was extremely wealthy till I was like age 6. I had this beautiful waterfront mansion with a private beach and pool, and then my parents got divorced and I ended up with a parent who didn't have money. So we were living out of like trailers and hotels and lower income housing, but I was still in these really wealthy situations. Like I was in private school and cotillions and dance lessons, and I always thought that I was so poor because I was the poorest person that I knew. And all of my friends had like millionaire and billionaire parents. Now that I've traveled, I've seen like real poverty, and I'm like, oh, I wasn't poor. But as a kid, I had these really luxurious vacations through my friends and family members where like my first introduction to Costa Rica, it was like when I was 17 years old. I came with my friend's family and we stayed at exclusive resorts. We were having lunch at the Four Seasons, and like same with my Hawaii experiences. My family friends took me and we stayed at the Grand Wailea and the Hyatt, all these really fancy luxury resorts, and we would explore the areas too. But you know, living in Nonavale or Pahoa is very different than taking a vacation at the Grand Wailea or Four Seasons. So my travels and moves, I've really realized how privileged I've been. And there's a lot of things that like made me run away from LA and Orange County, some traumatic experiences and terrible people. But I left a lot of resources and great people behind, and I need to be in those environments again. I really miss luxury environments.
That woman is going to end up getting back to factory settings with more challenges and difficulties.
Yeah.
Because all those women that says they choose the bear instead of the man until they see the bear.
It's funny because I saw a girl on X today. She's got a tweet that's going viral, and she said that marrying a man erases your feminism. And she's a feminist, and she was warning women that marrying a man will erase your feminism and dilute feminism. So beware, women. Don't marry a man. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And it's funny when she said, I ended up with the poor parent, all I heard was you ended up with the mother.
Yes.
Because a father would not have you living in hotels and trailer parks, because he would probably get a hard labor job that would pay decent money where you could actually get a stable place.
First of all, you're not going to be a man that is going to be marrying somebody who has hundreds of millions of dollars
and you're poor.
Being a pauper. They're going to be like, beat it.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I was like, you didn't need to conceal the fact that it was your mom that was poor. It was evident the way you outlined the story. But it's diabolical because he still paid for her to go to expensive school and expensive vacations, but let her live in the trailer park with her mother and hotels. That's crazy, bro. But at the same time, what was the woman doing? Was she holding on to the children?
Well, at the end of the day, it was still better than letting them being raised with nannies.
Yeah. But it's just like, it's a diabolical.
The father was still in the picture.
Because she said she was still in the most expensive rooms growing up. She was just living in hotels and trailer parks because her parents divorced. I was like, that's crazy. Yes. It's such a diabolical dynamic. Anyways, go to the next clip.
Yes, and this woman, she talks about how women don't. And then this is,
do not need men. They are an added bonus and fun in our life.
Men being an added bonus and fun in their life is because all women think about is sex. And they're thinking about the man as some play toy, and that's actually crazy. Like, they're pretty much thinking about they're there for me to use them just whenever I want to use them, and that's not like, I want to use them as a slave for labor, a slave for sex, a slave for emotions, a slave for doing whatever I need them to do, like gifts or whatever. And that is not how that works.
They only look at what they can see out of what they can get from you. And this is the problem that women run up against. Women do not know how to protect themselves against evil men.
No, they don't.
They don't understand how men work. And I'm listening, like, I watch women do this and traumatize women. And feminists, they sound like traumatized women.
They are.
Like, when I read the writings of these women, they sound like abused women.
They sound like women who've been raped.
Yes, they sound like abused women who are now forcing their abusive ideas of men onto them, and then they're looking at these delusional things to help them escape from their abuse rather than going out and doing it the right way because they're afraid and they will burn the world down for their fear rather than actually dealing with it.
Right. And yeah, that's why a lot of people, when they tell me, oh, you're so amazing, you done this, you done that, and I'm like, I'm only as amazing as the man in my life. That's really it. Like the man that I'm leaning on for support and guidance. And like my father obviously gave me a foundation, but if it wasn't for a man, I would literally be cooked, because a father can only do so much for you, but a man comes along and builds on that foundation and gives you what you need to bring out the best in you and continue that progression. It's like women don't have, like my dad's, had the capacity in those different areas to help themselves. And the connections that people think that I'm making by myself because they only see me doing it, it's not me doing it. They're like, oh, well, you're saying this. I'm saying this because a man showed me an experience, and now I can make the connection and tell you it back and regurgitate it to you. It's like there's just no, like, the degrees of separation are so small between women who go out and do this filth and women who are normal. And the only difference, this certain distinguishability between them and me, is the fact that I had a father who gave me foundations, and then a man who's now teaching me things that I never thought was possible. It's never crossed my mind. And that's what women need. That is their only saving grace, truly.
And if the woman doesn't have the father to lay that foundation, it's a train wreck,
a nightmare.
Because fatherless women,
man, it's
a
nightmare.
I'd rather pull out my eyeballs with a rusty screwdriver. I'm not even kidding, because it is that difficult because they are petrified of their own shadow.
Yeah, they are.
And they will destroy by the virtue of what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're going to destroy the men that are there to help. Men that are there to help, they're not going to make you feel good all the time. They're never going to do that. They're going to do what's necessary for you to grow and get through the situation.
Yeah.
But then the men will come in that are predators, and they'll make them feel good and tell them what they want to hear. Then they get fleeced, and then they wonder why they got in that situation. I watched this happen. Watch this my entire life. I would go and talk to women. I'd tell them, I'd say, listen, I would tell them about stuff that was going on with them just by having a conversation with them. And I'd say, well, you're going to go do this, 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 and this. And every single one of them came back and was like, yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why people would tell me all the time, like on my streams, or at least you have the ability to be self-reflective. Okay, but if I didn't learn through the experience of respecting and loving a man, how would I be self-reflective on those topics? How would I know that I needed to be self-reflective on those topics unless I was having that experience? So it's like I still can't take credit myself. Yes, again, the only reason is because my dad gave me a foundation so I can put those connections with a man. But still, if he was not giving me that experience and I wasn't going out of my way to do that experience with him, I would not know. I would just not know. And this is where it's like when women are like, oh, we can do these things and we can just know. Well, tell me the circumstances by which you will know. How will you know? Like, tell me where you're going to know and where you're going to get the information from. Is God just going to make me break the glass ceiling and then just drop the information on me one day and then just give me the circumstantial experience where I can go out and do the thing in practice? It's like, that's not how that works. I went 28 years of my life just ignorant to a lot of things that I thought that I knew. And every day I'm realizing things about God, life, and myself that I thought that I knew is not what I know. Because he's showing me that it's not what I know. And he's correct, 100%. And it's like, I just have to adapt. I just have to swallow my pride and adapt. That's what women need to realize. It's like, you're not going to, what you think you know is not what you know. It is a lie. And a piece of paper from a degree or school or whatever is not going to give you that same circumstantial experience, because those teachers or that degree, that piece of paper, wherever you went to get whatever information, those people didn't care about you the way a man cares about you. And he's not calculating the circumstances for your success. They're calculating the circumstances by which you will be a slave for them and bring their company more money, or their business, the corporate America, just the structure in general, more slaves. That man is going to specifically work with you to do certain things, and you will not get what you want out of your mind and your progression of life without that experience. And I'm really, really annoyed with people that constantly try to look at me and put me all the way up here acting like I'm above men, there's no way in hell I would be just like all these other females if it wasn't for him, and if it wasn't for my dad who gave me a foundation. And that's just the truth, because I am a woman. I am the weaker vessel. I'm not some goddess, some fertility goddess that you can put me through the roof to the sky as if like I can be above him. It's just not possible. I have my perspective, I have my talents, but there's just no way in hell these women, or none of them, not even me, in all my greatness, can do that.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Let's pull up this next clip. This one, I mean, it'll speak for itself.
I ended my marriage 1 year ago today. I blew up my life. I told him that I'm done. I cut ties with my parents. I moved to San Diego. This morning, I went to a protest. I took a nap. I got a Chili's triple dipper, the appetizer platter thing, ate it, went home, took a nap, and now I am skating. And that's what I'm doing to celebrate me leaving my marriage in the church and starting my life over 1 year ago today.
She sounds like an addict.
She's delusional.
Yeah, but she's speaking.
Yeah, yes, but you're just getting up and you're just going to walk away from everything you knew and go in the middle of nowhere all by yourself and cut ties with everybody. That's an invitation to being abused.
But yes, but what man told her? Who is she sleeping with? Like who? Women, very rarely do women get up and do something like that, move across the country, cut ties with their parents, cut ties with the man.
Somebody did it.
Without another influence.
I'm saying somebody influenced her.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Someone influenced her. She's acting like she just came and done all these things. It's like, that's a very specific type of behavior that usually another man gets you to do.
Yes.
And so that's very suspect. But yeah, you're right. It's a very dangerous thing for her to do, and it's very stupid. Women think, it's why women don't see the value in men or marriage, or understand that men protect you from bad ideology, bad ideas, bad circumstances, and bad actions from your own. Like, this is what women need to really understand, man. This is why it's like when women think they can go out and do things by themselves, it's like, power to you if you want to do that. But all the hard things that you want to go do and be wrong and strong, those you don't listen must feel. You're going to feel too, and you're going to feel hard. And the things that he said, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time, probably worse time, because you're stubborn. And that's just what it's going to be. And that's tragic, because you just refuse to see the value in what God made man to do for you. And that's find out. F around and find out.
Well, a lot of people are going to be on the finding out side of things soon enough, because they don't want to listen, so they're going to feel. Yeah. And we're going to pull up this short clip here. This one will kind of just go something that was interesting.
I keep telling women, you only pick the men that you open your legs to. You do not pick the man that goes down on one knee. You don't. So you can make your choices and be free-willed and live up your best city girl life all you want, yeah? But at the end of it, you're not the one that's going to choose whether you're worth to be married or not. So I suggest you actually listen to men when they say what they want to marry.
And it's true.
Funny, man. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Like, if you want a quality husband, it's not the woman who chooses that, it's the man who chooses the woman. Because if he doesn't see the value in you, too bad.
That's what I'm saying. Women cannot convince men of value of what they need. A man knows what he needs already, and if you don't have it, you're not going to convince him.
And if
he decides.
And if you use your vagina to get a man, he is going to resent you.
Yeah, that's why
he is going to resent you, because he's going to be like, I did not sign up for this. Yeah. And this is why women should not sleep with men before they get married, because then the man will have a better idea on if you guys are compatible and how to get the best out of you But because people are just doing the things to get what they want, they actually make their lives worse because women do not understand the way men function.
Yeah, but a lot of women, to be fair, just to be clear, a lot of women are using Christianity as a means to lie to men, as if that Christianity means that they won't have the desire or the passion, and that's not true. You can abstain from sex before marriage and not put yourself in a circumstance. It doesn't mean you're not going to feel desire and passion for the person that you're with. A lot of women do that so that when they get into marriage, they can use God as a strong arm against their husband and withhold sex. And then they do the performative nonsense of, oh, it just feels like performance and you have to coax me and all this other nonsense. In reality, and they're like, oh, you just have a sex addiction or you have lust problem or whatever. In reality,
This is part 4 of what women wish their male partners knew.
Sorry, I thought we were sitting on the other one. Go ahead, finish what you're saying, and then we'll.
No, but you get me, right? Like,
yes,
you should still feel deeply for the person across from you, for the person that you want to marry. You just don't need to act on it. You need to put boundaries in place that you prevent yourself from doing that, so you can know each other clearly.
Yes.
But women are lying.
We'll put this up because you said that. I'm just gonna play this later, but we'll play this now, and then I'll play another clip later, and I'll explain what there's a reason for this happening.
About how female desire works, and it's all about initiation. So asking your female partner out of the blue if she wants to be intimate will typically be met by resistance. Not because she doesn't want to, but because for her, it feels like she's expected to go from 0 to 100 immediately. It's jarring, it can feel like pressure, and honestly, it skips over all the conditions that her body actually needs to want to be intimate in the first place. Because for 85% of women, desire is responsive, which means she might not know if she's a yes until after she feels safe, connected, relaxed, warmed up. She's not withholding from you. She just genuinely needs some additional support for her body before she's open to saying yes. So instead of trying to change her or taking it personally, work with her to understand what she might need to be more open.
So that's why women go to Chris Brown concerts. They're wet in the audience praying for the opportunity to be called on stage so they can have sex with Chris Brown later. And I'm saying this because this man is all over the timeline consistently. I feel like I'm being, like I said in my stream earlier, I feel like I'm being forced to watch the degeneracy that these women do with this man online, because it's constantly being posted every 2 seconds. Did it just shut off again?
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny, but it's not. Okay. But yeah, so it's like, if that was the truth, women wouldn't be sleeping on random proposition with their boss, on random proposition with their coworkers, and random proposition with the best friend that you don't need to worry about. Even the guys that they date, they wouldn't, when the guys randomly proposition them and they're not ready, they haven't been coaxed into it, they're on go, they're ready. They're ready and they sleep with them. It's like, to a certain degree, women are lying. If a woman is saying this is because she despises you, she just doesn't respect you. A woman's desire for her husband intimately, or a man in general, comes for her level of respect for him, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, all of that, because it starts in the mind. It's a thought process. So it's like, even psychology will tell you that. Basic psychology will tell you that, because psychologists always say that sex doesn't begin in the moment. It begins in the morning. The way that you think about your partner, your spouse, the way that you communicate with them, the way you treat them in your actions, all of that contributes to your ability to actually be prepared to sleep with them when they come and proposition you. And if you don't do those steps correctly by yourself, in coordination with what your spouse is doing with you, then you are going to not have a good experience. And it, in part, is your own fault, because you are training your mind, your body, and your spirit to be adverse to interacting with your spouse the way that you need to intimately? Why is it that someone else comes along and treats you a certain way that you want to be treated, and then all of a sudden you're interested? That's just what that is.
Yeah, we need to take a short break and we'll be.
Hello friends, my name is Kaysha and I'm a proud member of the Métis Nation of Saskatchewan. And I'm also a survivor of human trafficking. My trafficking began in Saskatchewan, moved into Alberta, and even crossed into the United States. I was stalked, hunted, and ignored by the very systems over the last 5 years that were meant to protect me. This is why, with my father Dale Richardson, we started the Karis Project. This is an Indigenous, survivor-led movement for humanity dedicated to exposing trafficking, government corruption, and holding institutions accountable. One of the most powerful tools that we are using is the petitions for redress of grievances. These are lawful constitutional actions rooted in Canadian and US law, and in treaties that tie us together across provinces, across states, and even across borders. These petitions are precedent-setting. They create a binding record. They demand accountability while representing reconciliation in action. Indigenous and non-Indigenous people working side by side to preserve liberty for all. But we cannot do this alone. We need your help to keep this movement alive, to raise awareness and to build a legacy of justice for Indigenous women, for trafficking survivors, and for families everywhere. Thank you. Please stand with us. Your support makes this work possible. Together we can restore justice, heal families, and defend freedom. And I will close with my favorite quote. The greatest want of the world is the want of men. Men who cannot be bought or sold. Men who in their inmost souls are true and honest. Men who do not fear to call sin by its right name. Men whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle to the pole. And men who will stand for the right, though the heavens may fall. Thank you.
Do you find people now? People that you want to date?
Church.
No, it's a bad place to find a woman now, is that church.
Why?
Terrible place. Well, because what happens is there's what's called the Great Hoe Reformation.
What did he say?
Oh.
Uh-oh, I'm not going to like this, I'll tell you right now.
What happens is there's a lot of women out there who are getting into their 30s. They have ridden what we like to refer to as the cock carousel. And they did it for a long time.
It's true.
They couldn't find a guy, and so in their 30s now, they're kind of screwed. And so what they do is they reform and find Jesus. And then go to the church, and then when they're at the church, they try to meet guys.
But is it a problem if they really find Jesus?
Maybe they're coming for all the right reasons, but it really doesn't change the fact that I don't think that if a man in his 20s and 30s doesn't want to marry a former prostitute because she converted to Christianity, he probably doesn't need to.
Emotional damage.
Sorry, I think my mic was off during that when I was talking beforehand. I'm going to sit down and say that clip is going to explain why a little bit of what happened with what this woman was saying. They're getting on about the people going to the former prostitutes and the OnlyFans and whatever else like that. But you know what those women understand? That if you don't sleep with your husband, they'll be going to women like them.
Oh, yeah.
And so
they say it all the time.
They will sleep with their husbands, and it's going to put pressure on those other women that are doing that to sleep with their husbands, because they'll be sitting down and they'll be like, yes, my wife, she does this for me regularly.
Yeah.
They're like, why? Because she knows. Because women who did what your wives are doing, their husbands went and saw these women.
Yeah.
And they're going to find that out because those women are literally driving them to do this. And we're not sitting down that the man is trying to like have sex with you 12 times a day. We're not talking about this. We're talking about within reason. There are many men that are going without sex in their marriages because the wives are holding it and acting like they can't do it. Yes, they can. They're choosing not to. Right?
Crazy.
It's a choice. And once you get in and do it, even if you don't feel like doing it, because I guarantee you, your husband doesn't feel like doing a lot of the stuff that you need, but he does it anyway because he loves you, right?
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is when you tell your husband that you don't want to have sex with him, you're telling him that you don't love him. That's what your actions are saying.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And you're going to push him away, and you're basically cutting off. People are like, oh, well, you don't need sex to live. Well, no, you don't need it to live, but you need your marriage to continue to survive. If you want your marriage to thrive, then sex is a necessity.
Yeah.
Because somebody was comparing it to a priest, and I'm like, priests don't have sex, they don't have a wife, so yeah, he doesn't need sex because that's fornication.
But
that's sin.
A guy also said that if you don't have sex with your man, then he has to train himself like, okay, well, I might not get it, so that it's not an issue. And then he's training himself not to be attracted to you. So by the time you do something attractive, it's not gonna register for him that way because you've pushed him off so many times and he's tried to live with it. So now, even when you try to initiate sex to him, he's not attracted.
It's not going to respond.
It's not going to respond. So then he's going to cheat because you've trained him not to be attracted to you. That's terrifying. I didn't know that before.
Because you've literally shut him down and you've stomped out the love that he has.
That's so
because
terrifying.
How you want your emotional needs, this is how sex is for him. And so if your husband stopped meeting your emotional needs, you're going to wither and die. The same thing, you stop sleeping with your husband, he's going to wither and die. And that portion of your marriage is going to become an extreme burden because he's going to still feel the obligation to provide, especially if you have kids and everything else like that. And then the man just says he has enough. And somebody comes in there and sees that he is miserable and shows him attention. And then everything that was laying dormant in him because of what you've done springs to life.
Yeah, God forbid.
And then you're like, oh, he cheated. He's such a... No, you pushed him out the door.
Yeah, that's...
Right? And women need to start taking some responsibility. You want to sit down and say, oh, well, you don't want to do that? Well, do you want divorce? Do you want infidelity? Because you can push somebody for so long and expecting them to act like Jesus when you're acting like Satan and we're fallen human beings is absurd.
Yeah, like a lot of women think that they can abuse you for so long and you just have to have the strength of God and you don't have the right to be a human being and you need to just sit there and take it because a stable man will sit there and take it. No, you're an evil abuser. And most cheating doesn't happen out of malice. Most cheating happens because someone's being sexually neglected, emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, whatever. There's some sort of intimate neglect, and they're pushing that person into the hands of someone else because they are refusing to give them what they need. It's their fault. Like, yeah, someone makes the choice, but you pushed them into that. Like, you made the way for that to happen. You really can't complain when someone cheats on you. You have to take accountability for doing that. And Paul says in the Bible, if you withhold from your spouse what they need, you will be the cause of them cheating. It is your fault. Because when you are one flesh with someone and you do something to hurt them, you're doing something to hurt yourself, but you're doing something to hurt them. You are equally responsible.
Yes, and you're destroying your marriage.
Yeah, you are committing a betrayal against the person. It's treachery.
Yes. And this is where, I'm gonna pull up another clip here. These are some of these things. I mean, some of the things that people are doing, it's madness. It is absolute madness. I'm gonna pull this clip up here. We'll pull up another one. It's right there. We're gonna listen to what this woman has to say.
I think the reason why people don't want love is because most women want their bills paid. They don't want love.
Oh.
They got 4 or 5 people. They got 4 or 5 people because they got more than 4 or 5 bills. And I think as long as we're in this transactional era of time, it's never going to be able to get back to love. We got to focus on the core value of what actually matters inside of a relationship. And we've strayed too far. Honestly, don't get mad at me. I know there's a lot of ladies in here.
Seen all the faces behind you.
It's the truth. You know, honestly, we live in a prostitution era.
Wow.
She's not wrong in what she's saying, but she's not seeing the reason why.
Yeah.
Because when you put women in situations like where men should be, happens. And work them like men, prostitution is the inevitable result.
Exactly.
Because they cannot compete.
They can't. They can't keep up, and they can't compete.
No, they cannot.
When women are put to do the work of men, to compete like men instead of doing the work of women, they have no choice but to prostitute themselves to keep up, because if not, they will run themselves into ground and they'll literally die. And women are prostituting themselves to stay afloat, and men are like, oh, you're prostituting and blah, blah, blah. What the hell do you expect her to do? Keep up and outperform a man? You think she's going to break the glass ceiling? She's going to outcompete you? If you think a woman is going to outcompete you, then you think very low of yourself.
You see what that woman said? This is something that is a huge issue in the Black community, especially in America.
Yeah.
This mindset.
Well, this is why I keep telling people all the time, just quickly. This is why I tell people all the time. If you think that a lot of men are surprised about my behavior, like, oh, Kaysha, you never gone out and done a madness and done that and all that. I have a father and I have men in my life that make the difference. I'm telling you that right now, that is the saving grace. 7 degrees of separation, my friend. All right, okay.
Now we're going to pull up this clip that's going to talk about some of the same issues, but from a different perspective as to how this is. And people talk about this stuff being genetic, but no. Pay attention.
Black women do have attitude because not enough black men stay in their household and look after their children. So there is an absence of black fathers in black families because the media that we're portrayed doesn't push that agenda.
That doesn't mean to say that you have to tarnish everybody.
No, it's not. But it's a thought process. If we don't tackle it, then we just continue the cycle. Men will continuously not be in the lives of their children and the mother of the children. So therefore, the woman has to take up a role of a very masculine position because she's got to look after her child, provide. They have to continuously try to be mother and father. I watched my mum do it.
And when you can't pay the bills, prostitution is the outcome.
Yeah, literally.
This is what happened. This is what happened over all these years, and people are like, "Oh, it's genetic, this and that." No, it's called social engineering. You start getting rid of the fathers in the homes, and this is the sure result. And white people are beginning to have a lot of single parent families. You're going down the same path. You think that you're going to be any better? There is nowhere on planet Earth where you take the father out. You take a mother out, and a father will. The statistics between children staying out of trouble and all these other things are almost identical to two-parent homes.
Yeah.
You take the father out, and that thing falls off of a cliff.
Yes.
Women cannot do the job of the father. And if the children come out, it isn't because of the mother, especially when it's the boys, because the boys get an anger not having a father because they don't know where to fit in. Yeah. They don't, because they know they're not like the mother and she don't know what she's doing. When it comes to teaching being a man, you look at that stuff and the stuff that your mother tells you, you go out and you're like, that'll get me killed.
Yeah. And by the way, shout out to Sir Marcel. That is Rules to the Game, my favorite podcast. So go check out that stream, the last stream that he done on it, that for the full thing. It's a really good stream and it outlines a lot of really important things that people really should consider. And people don't like to hear that, but they need to hear it because it's the truth. It's what's going on. It's like my dad said, social engineering at the end of the day. And there's just no way that women are really going to be able to fix those things by themselves, just straight up and down.
No, they're not.
He's always spitting facts, by the way.
This is the root cause of what is going on with our society.
Yeah, it is. And that's why a lot of people over the last couple of years that were looking at me and my situation and being like, oh, why would you do this? Why would you do that? Or how come you're not, doing this or doing that? I was in America by myself for years, fighting for my life, trying to, make it out of constant bad situations. And it's like, how was I supposed to get out of that? And for loads of women just barely surviving who don't have fathers and don't have men in their life that are like, that they can lean on and have guidance from, man, I really feel bad for them because they really have no freaking clue what the hell to do. And because they're scared, they would rather commit crime to protect themselves than to rely on a good man to help them because they just don't know who to trust. They don't know how the hell where to start.
I need to play this last clip and then we're going to go to the slides and finish up real quick. Because I want people to hear what this young girl is now, how frustrated she is in her situation, and it's only going to get worse.
I don't want to work anymore. I don't want to work because aren't we supposed to be frolicking around in the woods, gathering fruit and baking bread and fucking each other? Why am I worried about my 401k? Why am I paying $407 a month in health insurance? Why is my car payment $588? Insurance for my car? $212, and I've never been in an accident. Knock on wood. Like, I don't even want to get into my rent. Why? And I get that people are going to be like, well, just live somewhere cheaper. Okay, calm down. I don't want to kill myself, so I'm going to live somewhere I enjoy. But also, like, why did we set this shit up the way that it is? Why? Like, I just don't think I vibe with the majority of the way we've set things up as a society is all I'm saying. I'm not vibing with it currently. So, that's all.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of men will say, I pay all my bills by myself, and like the women say, oh, I pay all my bills by myself and blah, blah. And men are like, okay, you're just being an adult. No, because in the Bible, there's nowhere mentioned where women worked by themselves and went out and paid bills and took care of themselves. Do you know who did that? Spies and prostitutes. Nowhere else in the Bible is that behavior recorded outside of spies and prostitutes. Did women do that? Why? Because they lived and worked with their fathers, and then they got married, and then they lived and worked with their husbands. That was the transmission.
What do you think is going to happen
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you put women in the position where they have to work and do all these things to protect and provide for themselves, how do you think that they're really going to have you come along and have any respect for you as a man? Because they're like, I'm doing all of this by myself. I literally don't need you. There's nothing that you can do for me. And that's not true. But that's the mindset that they're going to develop. And then they're going to get tired and start prostituting themselves because they want relief. They can't handle it.
That's exactly it. This is why it's being done.
Yes. And this is why me not going out and sleeping around doing a madness and prostituting is crazy. Like, it's actually elite. I'm not even going to lie to you.
Yes.
But I have a father and a man. So.
Yes. So let's go to these next slides here. All right. So this one says, and Samuel spake unto the house of Israel, saying, if ye do return to the Lord with your hearts, and put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth from among you, which is the fertility goddess, and prepare your hearts unto the Lord, and serve him only. Then the children of Israel did put away Balaam and Ashtaroth, and served the Lord only. God is telling you to turn away from this filth.
Yeah.
This is 100% needs to turn away. This cannot continue because it is the most filthy thing that goes along.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to worshiping God, it said, God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth.
Yeah. And
the truth is that you cannot deal with this Baal worship. That is Baal and Ashtaroth. That's incompatible with God. It says, what agreement hath the temple of God with idols? For ye are the temple of the living God. You cannot defile your temple with the practices of Baal worship. It says, little children, keep yourselves from idols. And that doesn't mean just bowing down to the idol. The thing that is taking the place of God in your life is also an idol. And when you're worshiping Baal and you're following the Baal practices and the Ashtaroth practices, those are your idols. And so God is asking people to turn away from that. He said that repent.
You know, I'm still okay.
Let me get this.
Yeah.
And then this is what it says. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, because the cup of iniquity for this is full. God is not going to sanction this. Whenever, because this is a quote from Jeremiah. From the fall of Babylon, we've seen these types of things repeating, because when you have that type of filth come up, what does God do? He says, not today. Yeah. And he sends judgment. And where's that judgment going to begin? In the house of God. Because this kind of filth cannot be tolerated. You're seeing Babylonian wine inside of the church and inside of everywhere.
Yeah. Do you know what I thought about? The fact, it is really funny. The girl said, shouldn't we be like baking and like, shouldn't I be frolicking in the forest, and shouldn't we be like effing each other? And that's so funny because in Genesis 3:16, God says he'll multiply the sorrow of women because of the sin of Eve. Obviously, of course, the Bible says she was deceived and Adam was chose, and sin entered the world through Adam. But regardless, God multiplied the sorrow of Eve 4 ways. He said, in conception, you will sorrow. You will sorrow in giving birth. You will sorrow in your desire for your husband, and you will sorrow in him ruling over you. That's Genesis 3:16. He multiplied her sorrow 4 ways. That woman is actually outlining the sorrow also of women, because the same way she sorrows in the rebellious way where she has to give up her pride and submit to him in those ways is the same way she sorrows because she actually desires that very thing. So a lot of the reason, like, men are confused that women are going around prostituting at the same time and doing all this whoring online and thirst trapping. Women at their very core need desire from men. They need to feel attachment and attraction from men. They need the attention from men. And if she's not going out and getting married and having the proper structure that God has laid out for us, if you are not giving it to her, someone else is going to give it to her the same way that sex works for men. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's causing the circulating issue.
Yes. I'm gonna wrap up here because we're running up here on time. But I want to sit down and say something. When she said she wanted to go out and, be out frolicking in the woods and having sex with her man and so forth, what do you think God did in Eden? They were out in nature.
Yeah.
He said, married them. He said, be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah.
Go have sex with yourself and with your wife and make more of yourselves.
Yeah.
Right? And they were living and doing their stuff in the garden out in nature.
Yeah.
Right?
Literally. And that's the core desire of women.
She's asking to go back to
the Garden of Eden. Yeah.
This is what she's asking for.
She's like, please make me factory settings.
This is the way God designed us to live in a better way than what we're doing with all of these stresses and strains, because you're putting all these women in all these situations and trying to get them to live like men, and they're all going to...
It is driving them crazy.
Is easier than living like a man.
Yes. Going and selling yourself and having sex with people is easier entirely than living like a man, because it will drive a woman crazy. She will literally kill herself because she can't handle it. She can't compartmentalize it. Yes, at least sex feels good.
Because when you're in a pressure cooker with men, that don't feel good.
No.
You might get the
You'd rather
achievement,
die.
but it's like, well, I'm 10 times more brutalized than any of the men around me.
Yeah. I would rather be beaten within an inch of my life than compete with men.
This is like, psychologically, this is like making all of those women that were competing with that man who said he was a woman that was beating Riley Gaines all the time because he was just way better.
Yeah.
This is what they're doing to women in the workforce.
And he was the worst man, mind you.
Yes.
He was the worst man against the best women.
Not make the men's teams.
Yeah.
This is what they're doing to women in the workforce. And then they're pushing women into male-dominated fields and wanting women to compete with men, but they're trying to lower the bar, but it's going to make everything worse. And in doing this, they're going to, by default, just destroy society.
Yeah, women can't handle it. It's why
women can't be men
crazy.
like men can't be women. It's ridiculous. We need to go back to what we're good at and build things strong the right way.
Yes, men need to do the hard things as men. And women need to do the hard things as women. Marcel said that too. Sir Marcel.
Anyway, let's close here with a prayer because we are over time. And so we will be back again with the next installments, part 4 of this series that we're doing running through. We've probably done about 20 episodes altogether around on feminism alone. And now we're going to continue on with this deep dive. All right. Thank you guys all for coming. I'm going to close here with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your love, grace, and mercy. We thank you for the hope that you have given us this day. And Father, I ask of you this day to bring the men and the women to come together to rebuild our families, our churches, our community, our nation, that we could come back and live a simpler life, and that we could reflect the image of God in mankind by service to you and rebuilding our families is my prayer in Jesus' name.
Amen.
I just wanted to say something really quickly before you do that, is that the greatest people who are threatened by the return of Christianity and masculinity are feminists.
Yeah.
And they will act like Jezebels. And when you see women hunting men down like crazy, they're not victims. Women who are victimized, they want to move away from the source of their pain.
Yeah, like that woman described who doesn't want to work anymore.
Yes, when women are, they're power hungry and they're Jezebels, they will hunt you down.
Yeah,
like they hunted down Elijah. You watch women, and when they're hunting people down for personal reasons, because if you're not raping kids or killing people or doing something that is going to just exterminate people, you have no reason to do this.
Yeah.
And women shouldn't be doing this like in this manner, in that relentless manner that I watch this happening to lots of men. And we're going to start going into this later on, but you hear what I'm saying. You see women doing that, they're Jezebels, not because they're victims.
Right.
Go ahead.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, man. We got to go back to factory settings. Men got to do the hard things that men can do because God made them to do that, and women got to do the hard things that women can do, and put the feminism aside, and give respect, honor, and loyalty to good men that come around to do the right thing, and work together as a team and do these things. So shout out to, again, rules to the game. So anyways, thanks guys for tuning in. We'll catch you in the next one, and to my dearest cares, until we meet again, my friend, and we will.